This is the Momentum Podcast.
I was recently asked an interesting question by a friend of mine who reviewed the Billionaire Code. And if you have not seen the Billionaire Code, or you haven't seen me present it, you can go to billionairecode.com and check it out. The Billionaire Code, just to give you context, is the 9 levels that every entrepreneur's business and the entrepreneur go through in order to create a $100 million business. And, you know, I've been on that journey myself. I've gotten into the tens of millions several times. I've helped a ton of companies get into the tens of millions, and then probably a few handfuls get into the hundreds of millions and even beyond. And the question that I got asked was, what is the most important thing for an entrepreneur to understand as they go through the Billionaire Code? And it caused me to pause. You know, I thought it was such a well-phrased question, because it's like, what is the most important thing? And so here's what I came up with.
I'm Alex Sharfin, and this is the Momentum Podcast, made for empire builders, game changers, trailblazers, shot takers, record breakers, world makers, and creators of all kinds. Those among us who can't turn it off and don't know why anyone would want to. We challenge complacency, destroy apathy, and we are obsessed with creating momentum so we can roll over bureaucracy and make our greatest contribution. Sure, we pay attention to their rules, but only so that we can bend them, break them, then rewrite them around our own will. We don't accept our destiny, we define it. We don't understand defeat because you only lose if you stop, and we don't know how. While the rest of the world strives for average and clings desperately to the status quo, we are the minority, the few, who are willing to hallucinate there could be a better future. And instead of just daydreaming of what could be, we endure the vulnerability and exposure it takes to make it real. We are the evolutionary hunters, clearly the most important people in the world, because entrepreneurs are the only source of consistent, positive human evolution, and we always will be.
You know, in the early stages of the Billionaire Code, when it's just you getting the business off the ground, by far the most important thing is for us to take care of ourselves. It's for us to maximize ourselves. It's the habits, you know, not necessarily the goals, but the habits that keep us on track. You need a routine. If you don't have a routine, you need a routine. It's interesting. You know, I keep seeing like this sentiment in the entrepreneurial world of like, I don't have a routine. I don't need a routine. You know, at the end of the day, the people who say they don't have a routine have one. It's just not very good, and it's haphazard and it's random. And the early stages of the Billionaire Code, it's you know, having a routine, taking care of yourself, being able to set personal outcomes and achieve them, and you know, and those are the most important things in the early stages of business. But the friend of mine that was asking has already run a multi-million-dollar company, and so he was asking more on the higher levels. You know, once you get into that 300,000 to $1 million, and then 1 to 3 million, and 3 to 10 million. Here's the most important thing, or the thing that as entrepreneurs we need to understand, is that growing a business, once you have a team, is an exercise in letting go. And there's a reason why so many entrepreneurs have a hard time letting go. And let me explain the first part and the second part of that statement. So first, let's talk about why is growing a business an exercise in letting go. When you are the only person working in the business, when the business is small, when the business is starting up, you have all of the information because there's nobody else there. You actually have more information in the early days of startup than you will ever have as the company scales. And I've been challenged on this. People say like, Alex, what do you mean? That sounds uncomfortable. I don't want to not have information in my business. Well, that's just a fact that we all have to face. As we grow our business, we have to make increasingly difficult decisions with less and less information, because we can't possibly have all the information we had when the business was just starting up. And so when I say that the most important thing for us is an exercise in letting go, it's an exercise in letting go of being in charge of, first, it's an exercise of letting go of doing everything. And that's in those early stages, 300,000 to $1 million. You know, when we're first starting to delegate, when we're delegating time, when we're getting our time back by having other people do things for us, it's an exercise in letting go of doing things. And then as you grow through the Billionaire Code and you get to that 1 to 3 million, it actually becomes an exercise in letting other people do what you do well, probably leveraging sales and having somebody else do sales. It's building systems and processes around what you do well so that you can let go of them. As you get into the 3 million to 10 million, it's letting go of success. It's actually letting other people create success in your business. You know, you go from working overtime to delegating time to now delegating success. And then when you get to that 10 to 30 million dollar stage, that's an exercise in letting go of having other leaders leading in your company, having other people be in charge of outcomes, not just delegating success, but delegating entire portions of your business to someone else. And as you grow past that 10 to 30 million, you're letting go of even more. You are allowing other people to be successful. You are delegating in a much more profound way. And even if you're following the Billionaire Code, you're giving up autonomy of time. You're actually letting go of being in charge of where you spend your time, because at 10 to 30 million, you want your team to tell you where they need you most. And so this process of letting go, this process of allowing other people, this process of being able to do this is incredibly difficult. And I'm telling you this first person, this is hard for me, even though I understand it at an intellectual level. I think all of us as entrepreneurs have difficulty in letting go. And here's the reason why you can't let go, and maybe the reason why your business is plateaued or not where you want it to be, or not growing where you want it to be, or maybe the reason why your team isn't taking the initiative you want them to, isn't like stepping up like you want them to. In almost every case where an entrepreneur has this issue, the reason we don't let go is trust. Is we have a lack of trust, and it's not a lack of trust in the people. You may say, no, I love my team. I really trust them. I know they have my back. I know they're trying to do what they need to do. But if you're having trouble letting go, if you're having trouble feeling confident in that letting go, oftentimes the reason that happens is because we don't really have a system in our business that we trust. We don't have processes in our business that we trust. And the primary processes I'm talking about are really, if we had to break them down in the categories, it's really three. It's one, creating a plan for what's going to happen next and trusting that plan. Number two is having a system for executing that plan and making sure that everyone is fully utilized and understanding that system to execute the plan. And then three, having a system in the business where you consistently grow that infrastructure, grow the processes in the business, grow the people in the business. And if we don't have those three systems, if we don't have a planning system, a communication and execution system, and then a process for understanding who to hire next, where to allocate resources, where our investment needs to go in the business, we will have a hard time letting go for any period of time. In fact, you know, the entrepreneurs that get accused of micromanagement in the later stages of growing a business after they have a team are often entrepreneurs who are just trying to do the right thing. We're just trying to grow the business. We're trying to move it forward, but we don't trust those processes in the business. And if you're in a place where you know that you're in that place where you feel like you need to check on everything and look at everything and understand what everybody's doing and make sure that you've reviewed everything and make sure that you've had eyes on everything, and it's hard to let go and it's hard to let others and it's hard to get the full support of your team, then I want you to ask yourself, is this perhaps an issue? Is the lack of a clear planning system where you state what you're going to get done, your team is involved in that process, and then they can get out in front of you and you don't have to watch every single thing that they do? Or maybe it's the lack of a communication and execution process where once that plan's in place, there's no system, there's no structure through which everyone on your team is doing the right thing every day. You don't have that entrepreneurial feeling that all of us have, believe me. I teach this stuff. I use our systems. I still get it every once in a while where you wake up in the morning or maybe in the middle of the night, even worse, and you think, I wonder what so-and-so is doing. Like, are they actually being productive? What is this person doing? And, it's that system where we don't have communication and execution in a process, or that symptom where we don't have communication and execution in a process, and it causes us to hold on too tight. It causes us to micromanage. It causes us to look at everything. And then that third step, where we don't have processes and structure within the business so that we understand when we need a new person. We understand when we need more resources. We understand when there's software needed. We understand when there's a new promotion needed. If we don't have those things, that's what causes us to white knuckle grow a business. And white knuckling growing a business is so exhausting. When we feel like we need to see everything, when we feel like we need to check everything, here's what we're really doing is setting ourselves up for massive, continual frustration and disappointment. Because here's what I mean by that. When we don't have the plan, when we don't have communication and execution, when we don't know what to do next in the business with clarity, when we don't know how to analyze to be able to do that, what ends up happening is we feel like we just need to be on top of everything. And that feeling of being on top of everything is exhausting. And then by disappointment, what I mean is when we feel like we have to be on top of everything, because we're entrepreneurs, because one of our strengths is seeing deficit, we see deficit in the world and we build around it, and that's how we solve problems. What happens is in a business, when we feel that deficit, we'll go out and start investigating and we'll find it. We will find problems. I always tell entrepreneurs, I always tell myself, your business is broken and if things go well, it always will be, because the only business that is perfect is closed. There's no problems with customers. There's no problems with team. There's no problems with product. It's perfect. It's closed. You don't want a perfect business. You want a business that's adaptable. You want a business that can grow with you, and your business will always be broken. And what happens is when we don't trust our plan and our communication system and our process for determining what to do next, we are constantly looking for what's wrong, and we will always find it. And then there's this voice in our heads. You've probably heard it from your head that says, look, I found this problem, and if I didn't find it, nobody would. Now I need to go check everything. And it makes us hold on even tighter. It makes us white knuckle even tighter. It makes us, try and see everything, try and do everything, try and cover everything. And that's where entrepreneurial exhaustion comes from. That's where burnout comes from. That's where those obsessive feelings come from. That's where we feel that discomfort that makes it so we just don't feel like we're doing the right thing on a daily basis. And so if you're in this situation, I want you to know there's hope. There's a ton of companies out there now that show people how to plan, how to communicate, how to systematically and objectively figure out what to do next. And we're one of them. If you're interested in getting more information, that one of the ways that you could contact us is by going to billionairecode.com, downloading the Billionaire Code, look at the 9-level framework, determine where you are, and then reach out to us. You can book a call through billionairecode.com and let us show you how these 3 primary systems, these processes in the business, once they're installed through what we call the Simple Operations System, our company's called Simple Operations, once they're installed, it will help you as an entrepreneur be able to trust and be able to let go and let others do and not feel like you have to do everything and not obsess over everything. And this is the bridge, the transition, the catalyst for so many entrepreneurs that takes us from where we are today to the absolute next level of growth as an entrepreneur. Or if we really lean into this, it can help us grow several levels as an entrepreneur, because when you are trying to hold on to everything, you commit to being the biggest bottleneck in your business. And I know that's where none of us want to be. So check out billionairecode.com. Look at the 9 levels of growth for an entrepreneur. It will be enlightening for you and help you understand where you should be focusing right now. And if you're interested, set up a call with our team. We'd love to jump on with you and show you how we can help you do these things and eliminate that anxiety, that frustration, and be able to let go with trust and confidence and excitement. And it will create massive momentum for you.